I just hit 1000 hours in Genshin Impact, and this is my entire account review. Okay, so before wasting any time, the order I'm going to be doing this in, if you ever want to check out timestamps, which will be in the video right now, so make sure to check those out if you're here for a certain part. I will be starting with characters, I'll then go to weapons, and then to artifacts, and then as like a last little thing, I'll be covering the food I use, as I use certain foods because I'm literally just a weirdo. But yeah, let's just go straight into characters. Alright, so starting with Yanfei, we all know she's my main DPS, so I'd say I do have the most resin spent on her. Although she's level 80 and not 90, I'm only doing this as I'm kind of using Yanfei until I can get a good Hutao, like a C1 Hutao, which obviously then means I'll level her up to 90 and that will be my new pyro DPS, I guess. So going into weapons, I'm using Lost Pret for Sacred Winds. This is Yanfei's best in slot. It's only level 80, I believe. I could probably level this up to 90. I have no real excuse to keep it on 80, so I'll probably do that soon. Artifacts wise, I'm on Crimson Witch, as I believe every Yanfei should be on Crimson Witch. I don't believe there's any situation where you wouldn't want to be on Crimson Witch, but I could be wrong. I'm on 4-piece. Flower wise, yeah, Plume, Sands, Goblets, and Circlet. If you want to pause to read those, go ahead, but I'll be showing artifacts at the end, obviously. There is C5, which is pretty impressive in my opinion. C4 is the basics one you need. Past C4, you don't really need anything. The only one I'm missing is obviously C6, which is just a plain damage boost pretty much. So that does suck, but I really wanted to get Kazuha this banner, so that's why I didn't get C6 last time. Talents wise, they are a bit underpowered, I'm not going to lie to you guys. With 8 and 4, I could honestly, but let's just level it up to 5. Let's just get this up a bit more, because this is pretty low considering she is literally my main. So there we go. So we're on like 7, 7, and 8. Although I probably didn't need to level this one up at all, as you don't need to for Yanfei, I still think it's important as she is my main DPS, so I may as well show her some love. And next up is Yelan. If you've been keeping up with the channel all, you'll know that Yelan was my first character I maxed out, and also the first character I actually got who was hard meta, so that was pretty exciting at the time. She has obviously been amazing. I have nothing but compliments to say about Yelan's gameplay. But yeah, anyway, level 90 maxed out. I use Favbo for ER obviously, and that's also level 90. I believe it's R3 as well, which is decent for me. Artifacts wise, I use Emblem of Severed Fate for again ER. I use 4-piece just like I do for Emily, Yanfei, Barbara even. All these I always use 4-piece. This is a flower, Plume, Sands, Goblets, and Circlet. Constellations, I have C0. I was thinking of getting C1 or C2, but it's just, I would have to risk so much, like, primos and wish-wise, that I didn't think it was worth it, as I really wanted Emily as well, which we'll get to in a second. Talents, I have level 8 and level 8 for the burst and special, which I think it's okay. Obviously, I do plan on getting maybe the special up to around level 9, maybe get my first crown or something. But yeah, that's pretty much Yelan, so let's just go straight into Emily. And just like Yelan, Emily was the second character I ever maxed out, and also my newest. So she's obviously level 90. I have decent stats on her again, high crit damage at 172, decently high ER at 120, but a bit of a low crit rate at 53, so I do need to improve that in the future. Weapons wise, I use White Tassel simply for crit rate, as I don't really have many of her free-to-play options, so I just thought going for White Tassel was a smarter option without having to dump so many primos into wishes, you know? I use Unfinished Reverie on 4-piece, which this is the flower, Plume, Sands, Goblet, and Circlet. I have her C0. I don't think I have any 5-stars on C1 or C2. I might have 1 or 2 potentially, but don't quote me. Talent-wise, similar to Yelan, I have 7 and 7. I do plan on upgrading these to 8 and 8, just like Yelan. However, obviously, I'm newer to Emily, so I didn't have the time. But trust me, next weekly boss, I'll get this done, and then I should be able to get orders ready. So that's just fine, I guess. Next, we'll go on to Kazuha real quick. Kazuha, I just got, so it is a bit on the newer side. I literally got him less than 3 hours ago-ish. He's only level 44, obviously. I haven't even put weapons on him. Actually, yeah, I have. But this only because it looks good, not because it's actually a good weapon, I don't believe. Artifacts, I was preparing for Kazuha, so I obviously have Viridescent Veneer, or how we pronounce that, Veneria? Tell me in the comments on see how we pronounce this, because I have zero idea. But anyway, so this is the flower, that's the plume, that's the sands, goblets, and circlet. Obviously, these aren't even leveled up at all, but that's like pretty much the stuff I'll be using. C0, and talents obviously level 1. Alright, so next up is Dendro Traveler, but I'm basically going to refer to Dendro Traveler, Fischl, Xiangling, and Mona in this little segment, as they're all kind of in the same boat. They're all either level 80 or 70, and I use them all quite a bit, but at the same time, they're just not good enough to be on my main team 24/7, you know? Weapons-wise, they all have good weapons, normally around R2 or 3 in Fischl's. Oh no, in R5, sorry, in Mona's case. Which, artifacts, again, they all have great 4 pieces, like I'm on Noblesse Oblige for Mona, I'm on Deepwood Memories for Dendro Traveler, Golden Troop for Fischl. They all have good artifacts, like equal to what you're seeing now. It's just, I don't want to use them, if you know what I mean. Only reason I leveled these characters up, mainly being Dendro Traveler, Fischl, Xiangling, and Mona, is simply because they are usable in endgame. Well, maybe outside of Mona, but she was my first 5-star, so it's why I basically leveled her up. I'm sure you guys have characters who are arguably meta, or at least usable in some meta teams, but you just don't want to really level up past a certain point, and that's how I feel about these 4 characters. Alright, so these next 3, unlike before, I either leveled them up simply because of their usability, versatility, or just future use in case I get someone who might really benefit them. And starting off with Diluc, the main reason I leveled him up obviously was for the content video, but outside of that, it's just nice getting a view of what used to be an OG meta. Considering I started at around 4.7, I didn't really experience anything past like early stages of Genshin. So I really want, I didn't experience early stages, but I experienced past that. But I never really just had someone who wasn't good, but wasn't bad either. And I feel like Diluc really filled that gap. Because although he's not an insane DPS, if he was a 4-star, he would still be one of the better 4-stars in the game as a DPS, which I just think is really good. But obviously he's a 5-star, so it's really bad. But yeah, this is where I put my Serpent Spine, which if you saw the Battle Pass video was my only positive about that. But yeah, I like Diluc. It's not that he's bad, it's just, I count him as like a worse Yanfei, because Yanfei's a DPS, Diluc's a DPS, and just Yanfei just does it better in every, almost, like literally every single category. But yeah, I don't really want to show off these artifacts, as again, it's not even a complete set. Don't have any constellations for him. I did level his talents up a little bit, especially his ult, getting to level 6, or his burst, sorry. But then Kachina, I did want to make the video I'm publishing now a Natlan Kachina video. I can't really say too much, as that will be next video, which I'm really excited for. It took me so long to make that, like that whole video, and I'm really proud of the way it came out. So tune in for next week, honestly. It's going to be a huge week. But yeah, Kachina, she's adorable. That's the main reason why I actually built her. I've almost got her to 80. I will definitely get her to 80. But I don't know if I'll actually use her outside of like a free geo construct, I guess. I think Kachina, I'm more likely to wait to get Zhongli than I am to use Kachina outside of her current level. Because I've built her quite well, you know. She has decent artifacts, being on a 4-piece of Scroll of the Hero of the Cinder City, which is her best set. Maxed out artifacts and everything. Like, you can't get better than this for Kachina. I guess you could obviously level talents up and get her C6, as I'm only C2 at the minute. But even then, it's just, I don't see myself using her past this video I'm creating. And then obviously for Kaya, I'd say he's a bit different from those two, as he's mainly a sub DPS. The reason I'm keeping him isn't for content, it's because I'm quite interested in making like a Ganyu video in the future when I get her. And Shenhe, Ganyu, any of these cryos would really help and just work really well with Kaya, especially if I'm making like a melt team in the future. Obviously I could use Diona with it as well. But yeah, you get what I'm trying to say. Kaya is just a good sub DPS, and I don't want to just neglect him completely to the point that he's useless. But I feel like at the minute that's what's been going on, and it's just, I don't plan on changing it, as currently I have no one to use him with. But when I get someone, trust me, Kaya is going up. Right, so then Barbara. Barbara is someone I actually use quite regularly. Regularly. I use her quite regular, so that's why she's level 70 and is relatively built. However, I only use her because she is a healer, so that's why I'm not really going to level her up, as when I get Farina, I'll obviously get her to 90 and not leave her at just 70 like Barbara. But anyway, I use Prototype Amber as it is Barbara's best in slot in my opinion. It just helps with HP, it helps with healing, and it's just overall a nice weapon to have on Barbara. I use Maiden Beloved. As you can tell, it's not really leveled up, as again, outside of maybe healing bonus, I literally don't use any of these artifacts, as I click on Barbara, quick swap to E, and then just that's it, I go off. So C0 like most tutorial characters, and then I use level 6 and 6 for the special and burst. So not too much to say, so I'll just go on to the rest. Alright, so everyone you see from here on out will be either A, a character I really want to build but just don't have the resources for it now, or B, someone I just happened to get when wishing or from like a tutorial or something, and I now just have them and I'll probably never build them. So I'll go over these a lot more like in pace, I guess. But yeah, starting with Lisa. Not much to say. Tutorial character, she's not built at all. She's only here because, well, I've started the game of Genshin Impact. Beidou, I was originally going to build Beidou on this account. However, now that I've started the Electro only account, I am kind of maining Beidou in Keqing over there. So it made more sense to just upgrade her there and just not really bother, as I was only going to build her here so I could like try out her build style, you know. Karara, great mobility character if you ever need to like go around faster, I guess, but there's so many better options like Yelan or Kachina even, honestly. But yeah, aside mobility, I don't really see a use for Karara. She's not ever going to be built. Amber, I might eventually build Amber, as I think she's got a really high skilled type build, as it's not really the easiest character to play. But yeah, she's not built currently. I do have C1, which is cool, but aside that, not really too much to say. Dea, one of my 5-star losses as usual. Again, not really built. I don't really plan on building her unless I'm doing like another Diluc video where I build like the worst character in Genshin Impact and build Dea or something. But I don't really plan on doing that soon. Goro, yeah, he's cool. He's a cool Geo character. I'd say he's a good staple piece for the Geo element. However, I already have Kachina, so I'll never really need a Geo construct, as Kachina is relatively built at level 70. So it's like, I just don't see myself using him. Noelle, similar to Beidou, I did originally want to build her, but it was mainly just so I could try out her shield and her like greatsword, as at the time I had no Claymore characters. So that would have been good for like mining ore. But yeah, aside that, nothing really too special. I have a C3, which is cool, I think. I haven't really upgraded skills either. Lynette, similar to Karara, mobility is there, but again, Lynette is like a B tier Yelan. Yelan is just better in almost every aspect when it comes to mobility, so I don't really see myself using the Lynette much. And now that I have Kazuha as well, I don't need the animo element of her, so I'll probably never build Lynette. Mika, just a very bad character. I don't think I've ever saw one Mika team. I don't think I've ever saw anyone want to use Mika. I just don't see myself even remotely leveling him up past level 20 for the free wish, obviously. Layla, I mean, she's a decent cryo shield, but the thing with Layla is I already have Diona, so the chance of me leveling her up is just significantly lower, unless she gets some sort of insane boost in the future, which obviously then I would. Rosaria, I do plan on leveling Rosaria up, not like soon, but within the next maybe month or two, I plan on getting her up to around level 80, as she's a solid character. I've saw her used on a few good teams, so she definitely has viability. I do have C2 as well, which I believe is very good. But yeah, aside that, she's not leveled up currently. Same for Diona. I really plan on leveling her up when I get Hu Tao, as I plan on making like a Kazuha, Hu Tao, Yelan, Diona type thing, and Diona obviously being my main shield. So that's great. I do use Slingshot on her, which is by choice, as it's one of her better options, of which aren't taken already. Yeah. Talents, again, not leveled up. Razor, similar to Beidou, I was originally going to try him out, but my Electro only account uses Razor, so it's like, I don't really want to build a character where I've already played them, you know? I already know what they can do. Collei, just like a mid Dendro Traveler, honestly. Collei's just, if you have no one else, like obviously I have Tainari in this situation, but if I didn't have Tainari, I might build her. But now it's just, I don't see myself ever using Collar. Gammon, he's just like a B tier Zhao, honestly. He's a good plunge character, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, if you have a 5-star plunge team, which like Zhao, Hu Tao even, it's just, I don't get why you'd use Gammon, even at C3, even at like C6, honestly. So yeah, that's why he's not leveled up. Chevrouse, same for Diona. I really want to level Chevrouse up. I just don't have the resources at the minute. Chevrouse is in my top 5 favorite Genshin characters of all time. So I definitely will level Chevrouse up, like 100%. This is the one character I know within the next 3 months will be level 90 and will be on my team pretty much 24/7. Tainori, I did speak on him earlier about Kole. Tainori is probably my best Dendro unit I currently have, not including Emily for Burgeon teams. But yeah, I love Tainori. I plan on building him whenever I get Cookie for a Hyper Boom team, but I doubt it's going to be super soon. I was going to level up Nahida in this place, but since Nahida and Hu Tao's banner drops on the same phase, I'm obviously pulling for Hu Tao, as if you've watched me from like the first video, you'll know that I love Hu Tao, so it's just there's no chance I'll skip Hu Tao for Nahida. But yeah, it does suck about Nahida, but that's Tainori. Jinyan, I got her by accident completely. I was basically pulling on this banner for Kazuha, Bennett, and someone else, oh, and Kachina, and just so happens to get Jinyan as well. I think she's C2 as well, so it's not even like that weak. Yeah, not really too much to say. Bennett, he is similar to Chevrouse and Diona. I will level this guy up very soon. He is a hard meta character. He's probably the best 4-star in the game when it comes to supports. So I'm 100% getting him up. I do have C1. I do kind of want to try and get C6, but I need to start saving my wishes, as obviously the next banner, I'm putting Raiden on the Electro only, and then for 5.1, I'll probably save for the first half, and then just full-on pull for phase 2, get like C1 Hu Tao, get Staff of Homer, and just go from there, you know? But yeah, that's all my characters, so I guess next up, I'll just go on to weapons. Alright, so my weapons aren't really too exciting. Obviously, as a new player, I'm not going to have many 5-star weapons, if any, but obviously in this case, I have one. As you can see, this is like a wide range of them. Aside a few 3-stars, I don't really use many either, so I'll just go from like top left and just end here. So to start with, I use Lost Prayer on Yanfei. Also, I'm not really going to cover who I use the weapon on, as I've shown that in their characters, so you can always just use timestamps and go back if you want to see why I use them on them. But yeah, I have Lost Prayer to Sacred Winds, probably one of the best catalysts in the game, for Yanfei anyway. I believe it's her best in slot, but yeah. Favbo, a classic, everyone loves Favonius weapons. Footprint of the Rainbow is a new Natlan weapon. It stacks defense, which is obviously why it's on Kachina. Prototype Amber, I think it's just an overall great weapon. I've saw it being used on like Nouvelette, Amber, Barbara, sorry, not Amber. But yeah, Favonius Lance, all the Favonius weapons I use mainly just for ER. I'm pretty sure that's their main like viability. Prototype Rancor, I use this because like when you start the game, you can use that little book and just level it up over and over and get the materials back. So it was like a free upgrade. So that was nice. Stringless is amazing. I'm quite happy I pulled this because I had to go a few weeks without it and it was just horrible. So that's great. Probably my favorite bow I currently have, maybe tied with like 5 bow. Sack Sword, yeah, it's cool. It's R3, which is nice. I have actually leveled this one up to 50, which most of my weapons are under power because, to be honest with you guys, I've just been neglecting weapons really hard. And I know it's bad, like, you don't have to tell me, I know it's bad to not level weapons up. It's the one thing I need to work on in Genshin, which I just don't ever do. So I think over the next few weeks, I am going to focus on weapons a bit more, try and level the ones I use up, like especially like Stringless on Fischl, or like Fav Sword on Traveler. But yeah, R3 Sack Sword, R2 Fav Sword. I can get this to R3, however, Fav Sword is used so much on many characters that I might save one, but I'm unsure honestly. Like let me know if I should just refine this into R3 or save this as like a separate one. But yeah, I use Prototype Crescent. This was the old thing I used on Fischl, which before I got Stringless obviously, but now I don't really use it. Dragon's Bane I use on Zhangling. It's not her best in slot at all, but it's just one of the better weapons. It's an overall good weapon. And yeah, it's only R1 though, so it's not too great. Serpent Spine, my first and only Battle Pass weapon. R1, I will be leveling this one up a lot higher once I get like a better Claymore character, but right now it's just, I have no one to use it on, so I'm not really going to level it up, you know? Beidou is on Fav Greatsword. I think this is one of the few Favonius weapons which aren't really used too much, from what I've seen anyway. Like, people always just use Serpent Spine instead. But yeah, nothing really too special about it. Katane Cross Spear, I actually crafted this twice because I was originally going to use it for... I think I was going to originally use it for Kashina, but I just never did, so yeah. I have Rust on R1, nothing too special, level 1. Sackbow, again, it's kind of just like a B-Tech version of Favbow in my opinion, and I already maxed Favbow, so I don't really plan on doing this one. But yeah, it's there if I ever need it. Ring of Yakshe, I believe it's pronounced Yakshe. This is Mualani's weapon. Well, not her actual weapon, but like her like best 4-star variant free-to-play version. And yeah, it's cool. Same for Ashgrave and Drinkenhorn. I don't really know where I got these. Oh no, this was free. This was from like just going into 5.0. And then this one, I don't know how I got this. Sack Fragments. Again, I don't really know what this is, nor will use it. I think for most of these, maybe like Fav Codex I'll use. I don't really plan on using these two. I guess maybe if I need crit damage, I can use the width, but yeah. Crescent Pike is my best in slot for Chevreuse. I could obviously swap this multiple times. I could go on like Katane Cross Spear, I could go Favlance, but from what I saw on Genshin.gg, Crescent Pike is actually really good for Chevreuse, so I just, you know, put it on. Earthshaker is Kinich's weapon. Again, Claymores, I have no one to use them on, so I doubt I'll even level them to level 20, which is happening in this case and Prototype Alok's case. Kagotsulabe Ishin is Kazuha's weapon, or at least his 4-star variant. And yeah, it's cool, it's R1, I got it from the quest. I do actually use this on Kazuha currently, as it just looks cool, that's literally the only reason. Lion's Roar. Yeah, Lion's Roar's decent, I guess. Not really too special though. Same for the flute, same thing. Actually no, for Favoni's sword, I just need to refine. But yeah, the only weapons of 3-star variant I use is White Tassel for the crit rate. I also use Cool Steel a lot for the, obviously, Hydro and Cryo damage boost. And then Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers, which is like more like a passive thing. Like you just quick swap onto someone with it, and then you just get a free 48%. So I mean, it's good. Oh, I also do use Slingshot, but I think I could honestly swap this onto any other crit rate weapon. Like, let's see here. If I don't have one, actually, that's probably why I'm using it. It doesn't look like I actually have a crit rate weapon. So yeah, that's probably why I'm using it on Diona, just for the free crit rate. But yeah, they're the only weapons I use. Not really too much to say. I am lacking on weapons on both upgrading and just overall showcase of them, I guess. So yeah, I'll just move on from here. Okay, so for artifacts, I'm not really too sure on how I should showcase these. Like, should I just click through them each, like, individual thing? Or should I do it in sets, you know? I guess I'll just go down. I'll just show the ones I'm actually currently using, and I'll skip the ones I'm not, I guess. So, for Kachina, for her plume, anyway, I obviously use Scroll of the Hero of Cinder City, which I use on 4-piece, as it is her best set for, like, artifacts. And the plume is, obviously, HP, defense, ER at 10%, which is decent, and then defense percent at 15, which Kachina wants defense and ER, so that is actually a decent plume. For the Sans, she has an ER main stat, which is obviously good. Defense percent on 13, well 12, but let's round it, you know. And then it has crit rate, which didn't really go up, which kind of sucks. I much prefer if crit rate went up to like 20, and then defense was at 20, and these just kind of stayed low. But it is what it is. Goblet wise, I use a defense main stat, as I use a ER main stat on my Sans, allowing me to use the weapon I use, which is the rainbow one, which gives me more defense. So it evens out, but yeah. I use defense main stat with HP percent as the only really good substat here. I wouldn't even say attacks percent's good on Kachina. For Emily, I use Unfinished Reverie on a 4-piece again, which for the flower I have crit rate, EM, crit damage. I don't remember too much what Emily wants substat wise, but I know double crit's always good, so it's a safe option, you know. For the plume, defense main stat, not defense main stat, defense substat on 20%, crit rate on 10%, crit damage on 14, which is decent, and then ER on 5. This is like a decent one. I kind of wish defense wasn't as high. I would have much preferred like maybe higher crit rates, even like higher crit, ER, sorry. For the goblet, I use dendro damage bonus. I do try and stick to the elemental damage bonuses for everyone I use, which is like a common theme. Like on Elon, I use Hydro. On Fischl, I use Electro. You know, just stuff like that. Yanfei, I use Pyro, etc. But yeah, EM, ER as substats, not really too great, but it is what it is, you know. For Elon, this is my off-piece on Elon, so this isn't like anything too dramatic. It just has good crit damage and good ER, which is what I wanted. Barbara, this is my only good piece on Barbara, as the rest I just threw on randomly. It's a healing bonus circlet with high EM and high HP percent, which obviously we want on Barbara. For Emily's off-piece, I use Deepwood Memories with a 10% crit rate and 10% HP percent. The main stat is obviously attack, as I just have awful luck in that domain, so kind of just settled, but at the same time, 10% crit rate, it's not bad, so I just took it, you know. For Yelan, I use a 4-piece of Emblem of Severed Fate. The plume, I run crit rate, crit damage, with just HP percent and defense, but I kind of neglected those. For the sands, I run ER, as Yelan really likes energy, so crit rate, HP percent, and EM, not the best. I mean, the EM was fine, but really low crit rate, which really just suffered my Yelan, as obviously I have high ER now and high EM, but the crit rate just isn't really where I wanted it, so going for like 20% here would just be so much better. For the goblet, I run a hydro damage bonus goblet with really bad substats, like really bad substats at all, like none of these are good, but it is what it is. It's hydro damage bonus, it helps with the 4-piece, so I just took one for the team, you know. Circlet wise, since I got really bad crit rate on all of these, I had to go for a crit rate circlet. Normally I go for crit damage with people like Elon, but I had to go for crit rate here. I have EM and attack as just the base substats, nothing too special again. As you can tell, my Elon has really high EM, just like, I didn't choose that, it just kind of happened, so it is what it is, but it's pretty cool, so yeah, it's a good fact. For Zhangling, she's not really built as you guys saw earlier, but for the flower I do use Noblesse Oblige, not by choice, just because it was like my only spare maxed out flower, and it has decent crit rate and decent ER, so I was like, yeah, why not? For Mona though, I actually did used to build Mona quite well. I use Noblesse Oblige, but however I think I use 2-piece Noblesse and then 2-piece Golden Troop on Mona now, but don't quote me, I'm not too sure on that. This is good crit damage, good ER, and decent attack percent, but you know, defense did go up, which kind of sucks, so I did lose out on some substats. For Yanfei, I'll cover Yanfei's whole set right now, as she obviously is my main. For the plume here, I obviously wanted high crit rate and high crit damage, however I did settle on getting for ER and crit rate, which, I mean, it does suck that I didn't keep going to try and get a good off-piece with crit damage as well, but it is what it is, you know. For the main 4-piece though, I use Crimson Witch, as you guys saw earlier. This has great crit damage and great crit rate. The Sands is attack percent with decent crit damage, decent ER, and just bad defense, honestly. For the Goblet, obviously I use Pyro damage bonus, as I do on all of them, well, as in like elemental damage bonus, with high EM, and that's pretty much it. And then for the Circlet, I use crit rate with high ER. So you might be thinking, how have I spent over 8,000 resin on this domain and still have pretty mid artifacts? And my luck in this domain is just absolutely horrid. Like, I mean, it is beyond. I've spent so many hours in that domain and just haven't really got anything super outlying. So it does suck, but it is what it is. For Kachina's off-piece, I use a circlet of crit damage with 62%, which isn't bad. But it has high ER and defense percent, which is decent. I think my Kachina is probably built the best out of any character on my account, which sucks because she's not even maxed out, but she obviously wants defense and just ER, and I managed to get that on really like high levels on almost every artifact, which is it's just amazing, man, honestly. Going to Barbara, I didn't know I had a maxed out flower for her, but yeah, apparently I do. It just says ER, HP percent, and crit rate. That's decent as obviously Barbara stacks with HP percent, and ER is just great for Barbara's ult, as you obviously just want permanent healing. Back to Emily though. Her circlet is crit damage with ER and attack percent. Not really too much to say here. I'll probably max this out soon, hopefully getting that 10% on ER. I would prefer crit rate, or just none of these and go for like an EM, ER or something. But that's what I got and that's what I use, so I don't really have a choice anymore. Diluc and Zhangling, I'm just going to skip. For official, I use a 4-piece golden troop, I believe, with a off-piece of unfinished reverie, but this is my only good electro damage bonus piece with crit damage there in case I ever get that boosted up, and then EM. I did get defense and HP on base, which kind of sucks, but I mean it's decent. If I level up to 20 and get decent amount of EM, maybe like a plus 60, and then I get like crit damage go to like 10%, that would be decent. Golden troop wise on official, for the circlet I run attack percent as the main stat. For crit rate, ER, and EM, I wanted to get these on different levels. I kind of wanted crit rate to be first, and then ER, and then EM, but obviously it kind of went the opposite order, which it's unfortunate, but it can happen, so I'm not going to complain too much. Oh, this is Kachina's last piece, by the way. I think this is one of my worst pieces on Kachina, hence why it's only level 14, as I am trying to get a better flower. But it has EM and HP percent, so it's not like useless. But yeah, for Official's Plume, I have crit damage at 10% and EM. That's literally it here. I don't really care about the rest. Hopefully these keep going up, but I'll probably get it to 16, and if HP or attack percent goes up, I'll just skip it and just try and get a better plume. Official's Flower is crit damage on 6%, EM and ER, which are decent substats. However, defense went up like twice, so it's on 20%, which is kind of useless for Official. So that is really unfortunate, and I do hope to change that soon, but I have to settle on some things. For the Sands, I run EM on Official. I'm aware that ER can be usable, but I have so much ER on almost every single piece that I just decided to go for EM. I have 10% crit rate, which is one of my higher crit rate pieces, with a 6% on an ER. Outside of those, I don't really have many artifacts leveled up. I am collecting different sets, such as like Viridescent Veneria or Venelia, which, I mean, all of these are actually good for Kazuha. Like, I've been grinding and getting really lucky. Like, this is crit rate, crit damage, attack percent, and HP percent, which are all decent. For the Plume, it has like crit rate, EM, ER, which is decent again. If I get a crit damage, that would be insane. I think with the Sands, I'm really lacking. It only has EM and nothing else really, so I do need a better Sands. However, I could just make a Sands my off piece and just get Sands that way. Goblet, I am missing an animo damage bonus. I might have a spare one. Actually, I have a spare one here, so I'll probably swap this onto Kazuha and then run EM, crit rate, and hopefully get better substats. And then lastly for Kazuha, I'm running attack percent for the circlet with EM, and that's it. So yeah, there's nothing really too special about my artifacts. I have spent around 80% of all my resin here, which is why for my level I have decently high artifacts, or at least in some cases, like Yearlons for instance, or Yanfei's. Or even Kachina, where I spent around 1,000 resin, so not too much, but you know, still a lot. But yeah, nothing really too much else here, so I'll just probably skip onto this and go on to my most important section, which is obviously the food. So you guys are either going to find this really weird or actually pretty funny, but I actually collect food in this game, believe it or not, because I was looking through the dishes and it was like a few weeks ago now, I was looking on YouTube for just the best food to eat in general, because I thought there was like certain foods which could boost your attack by tons or just like really help you out with something. But that was a very unhelpful video, by the way. I did not learn anything. But instead, I went through the entire menu myself and just chose like 3 dishes which I thought were really good, and just started grinding materials and just like running around the map of Teyvat just searching for these materials so I can craft the food. But yeah, those 3 special delights are pita pockets, and I guess yearnings, as these are Collei's little thing, and Collei makes these when she makes the pita pockets, so it's like, you know, And then Delicious Adeptus Temptation, which, you know, it looks nice. Like, let's be honest, guys. If you saw this in a restaurant, you'd probably eat that, right? Like, I can see like some dumplings. I can see some like meat, some like prawn, shrimp looking things. It looks nice. And then the classic of ice cream. Look at the penguin. Literally, look at that penguin. How do you not want to eat this? As in, not the penguin, as in the ice cream. The penguin's just like on the bottle, obviously. But like, it just looks nice, you know? Like, would you rather have a nice ice cream or fisherman's toast? Like, come on, guys. Let's be honest here. 76 ice creams. I think that's a fair number. I do plan on expanding this collection to like the quintuple digits, but as of right now, it's like they're not really easy to get or craft. So yeah. Also, I think what I'm going to do, guys, is I originally was only going to do like these 4 segments in the video, but I think I'm going to make this like one of my longest videos yet and go for like an hour-long video, and just I'll do like a tier list on who I want. You know, I'll do like different things, cover the entire account from like world level exploration tier lists, you know. So yeah, this is going to be a long video from here on out. So I hope you guys really enjoy this. So I think what I'm going to do for these next segments is cover the tier list first, and I'll just go over like who I want, who's going to really help my account, and who I'm really seeking for, both weapons and character wise. And then I'll probably cover some exploration, just going over some of the main sigil tree things, or like the Inazuma shrine, just that different stuff, so I can show you guys where I actually am, what I plan to max out, what I plan to do, maybe cover some story quests and just overall quests of where I am as well. But yeah, I think that's probably what I'm going to do now. After that, I'm unsure. I guess I could cover different stuff like, you know, materials, gadgets, etc., quests, so which I probably will do, honestly. But yeah, so I'm going to start with those, and then we'll see from there. Alright, so I've quickly made the tier list of the people I'd actually want to pull for on this account, and who I think could really help this account in the future. So just ignore like this bit, obviously. So I'll just start from up. Neuvillette, Hu Tao, Zhongli, Kazuha, which I obviously have now, Irina, and Yelan, who I already have, are all 100% pulls. As soon as any of these appear on a banner, I'll 100% be pulling for them and 100% keep trying. Like, I need these characters. I just think it will really benefit my account. With obviously Hu Tao coming out soon, I'm going to be mainly using a Farina, Yelan, Hu Tao type vaporized team once I get Farina. But right now I'm going to probably use Hu Tao, Kazuha, Yelan with someone else, honestly. Probably like C4 Yanfei, honestly. Next up is want, but not 100% sure. This is mainly just because, obviously, these main DPSs like Clarant and Raiden, I do really want, or Raiden, sorry, I've played Mortal Kombat too much in my life. But yeah, I do really want these. It's just, I don't think they're good enough to actually be considered hard meta enough for me to 100% guarantee a pull for them, you know? Same for Ganyu, Chiori, and even Nahida. I think Nahida could go next to Raiden here. Like, they are all S tier characters. Well, maybe not S tier if you count like Shiori and Ganyu. But like these 3, I'd say are relatively S tier. It's just, there's different options in case you don't want to use them, you know? So I just think, I don't believe Neuvillette has a second option. For a Hu Tao, like, vaporized team, Hu Tao is literally the vaporize. Like, Kazuha is literally the best. Like, sure, there's Sucrose, but there's no one better than Kazuha. Same for Zhongli and Shieldon. These are all just staple pieces, unless you count Yelan and Jingchu. But realistically, Yelan is just better. I guess you could put Yelan there. But there's just no one better, you know? And then below these, they're pretty self-explanatory. I'd stack Pity, just people I like. I wouldn't really say a hard meta, but I certainly like them and would want to pull them, such as Wanderer, Klee, Venti especially Venti, Child, and Baiju. The rest are all just either decent, like, I forgot her name, but like Ocarino, or just, you know, people I'd pass on. Then these are just people I'd pass. You will notice Emily here, simply because for Emily, I only wanted C0. Same for Tainari. Same for Kaching, honestly. Even on my Electro only, I'd only really want to get C0, as I just plan on getting, like on Electro only anyway. Obviously, I know this isn't a video on that, but I plan on getting Raiden and Clarant, so it just kind of limits her use quite a lot. But yeah, this is pretty much a tier list to a basic degree. I think going for Neuvillette will especially be important. Hu Tao will be important. Zhongli will be just as important. Kazuha, Farina, all of these are staple pieces. These are mainly who I'm going for. And then for Spiral Abyss, it's really dry simply because I just don't play Spiral Abyss, you know? I kind of forget it even exists most days. Like, I've done the main 8 floors, but yeah, in total, it's just, there's not really much to see. I've started like 9, I guess. It's not that I just can't do it, I don't think. I just generally just forget it even exists, so just stop trying. Once I get Hu Tao, I'll probably start focusing the Abyss a lot more, but as of right now, I just kind of ignore it. I mean, yeah, lastly, if I was to give some final thoughts, I'd honestly just like to say thanks for all the support I've got over my start till now. If you've been keeping up with the channel, I've recorded every single thing I've ever done in Genshin, well, almost everything. So literally my first ever video was my first ever day on Genshin up until now, which is now 1,000 hours in. I'm loving the game. I don't plan on quitting. I don't plan on even, like, I've been trying out with the gachas, them just don't hit the same. Genshin is literally one of a kind, and there's just nothing which can compare to it. I do plan on playing this for another 1,000 hours, 2,000 hours, 10,000 hours, etc. I will plan on 100% in a lot more regions. Obviously, streaming is really going to help with that when I do start streaming. But as of right now, this is my full account review, and I just really hope you guys enjoyed. And on a last note, last video done insanely well, sitting at like 25k views right now. Also getting me to 1k subs, which was also huge. So this is also kind of like a 1,000 sub special, which I think it's decent. You know, it shows my journey up until this point, my full account journey, I guess. But yeah, enough of the yap. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys whenever next upload is. And yeah, see ya.